Welcome to the HowTheyLostWeight.com interview program, where you'll learn weight loss strategies and techniques from real people who've successfully lost weight and kept it off. We invite you to sit forward, get ready to take notes, and join your host and weight loss expert, David Fry, as he interviews today's weight loss guest.
What's up, weight losers? How are you? My name is David Fry. I'm your host of the HowTheyLostWeight.com interview podcast, and I'm grateful to be here with you again because I got a fantastic person that you need to hear from. Her name is Celeste Casey. She lives in Lehi, Utah. She's a stay-at-home mom, and she lost 46 pounds in only 4 months. Let me say that again, 46 pounds in 4 months. And she did it by cutting out just 2 types of foods. And so I know you're going to want to sit up and listen to this interview with Celeste. So without further ado, let's do that.
Hi, Celeste. Thank you so much for being on the How They Lost Weight program.
Yeah, thanks. You bet.
Okay, tell us, where you're from and what do you do for a living?
I am from Lehi, Utah, and I seem to be a jack of all trades. I do a lot of things. Most importantly, I'm a mom, but I do greeting cards and some event planning and health insurance, so that's quite the variety.
Good. How old are you and what's your height?
I'm 34, and I'm 5'3".
And what was your starting weight, and what weight are you at right now?
I started at 182 pounds, and I'm at 136.
Amazing. How long did it take you to lose that weight?
About 4 months, give or take maybe a couple weeks.
And what motivated you to finally lose the weight?
You know, I had an interesting thing happen in the fall of 2014. My grandpa had a massive stroke, and he wasn't supposed to make it through the night, and we all went to visit him, and he ended up making it through the night. He's still here with us today. But it was kind of interesting because I learned a lot about my family history that weekend, and it was really scary to me. So I decided to go see a nutritionist that I knew had helped a lot of my friends lose some weight. So I went to her. She told me that I was pre-diabetic. That scared me. I had some things going on with some hormones. I'm female. I guess that's what happens as you get older, right? And I had some results. She did some blood work with me, and I just wasn't happy with it. She put me on 3 different medications and told me to try it for 90 days. And she told me I'd see inch loss. She told me I'd probably see some weight drop. And in about 3 months, I didn't see anything. I didn't feel better. I didn't feel like anything was helping with the symptoms that I went to her for. And I had a meltdown in front of one of my friends. And she's also a gal who knows a lot about nutrition, but I didn't know at the time what she helps people do. She actually worked in an office, did some administrative work alongside with me, and she told me that in the evenings she actually coaches type 2 diabetics and helps them get off their medication. And in the long run of that, people lose weight, they feel healthier, and I just kind of knew. She told me a little bit about her program, and I thought, I see this girl 3 times a week. It's going to hold me accountable, and I need to do something. It's the only thing I can control right now. I was scared for my health. I didn't want to put that burden on my family and my friends. So I jumped in, full feet in, and I don't regret it, not one bit.
What specific things did you do to lose the weight?
First and foremost, I stopped eating sugar and carbs. This specific diet that I was on was high protein and vegetables only. Obviously, there's some olive oil options when you're cooking some vegetables or salad or whatever for dressings. I had to modify a lot of my recipes to be sugar-free and carb-free, which can be hard when you're married to someone who could live off of meat and potatoes. So I had to get creative, but I decided to look at it and have some fun with it. And I pulled out a bunch of my recipes and just went to town.
So you mentioned that you were able to meet up with this person 3 times a week, but tell us a little bit more about the support system or the accountability system that you created for yourself.
Okay, yeah. I actually had a scheduled appointment with her every Tuesday afternoon Our daughters danced together, so it was easy for us to get the kids to dance. And then we met every Tuesday. She actually took all of my measurements, as far as my bicep, my chest, my abdomen, my thighs, my behind. It was kind of interesting to watch the centimeters drop, but now that I can put that into inches, it's pretty cool. So neat that she did the measurement part. We also did the weight, obviously. But that can kind of fluctuate a little bit too, you know, depending on the day or whatnot for me. So it was kind of cool to see week by week how that played out. And I did mention that I saw her several times a week. We weren't necessarily taking measurements or doing that kind of thing, but I felt like I could say, hey, I tried this recipe, this worked, or I could say, hey, do you think I could actually get her approval on some stuff and say, do you think that this would be okay? It helps to have, you know, you hear a lot of people who go into weight loss feel like they need to have a buddy that's doing it along with them. And even though my friend wasn't necessarily doing a weight loss program with me, trying to lose weight herself, I at least had somebody that knew what I was going through. She knew when I was excited, she knew why, and when I was frustrated and upset, she knew why. She always had something to kind of throw my way to help me just keep going, and I always had that support.
And what mindset change did you have to make to successfully lose the weight?
I felt like it was a huge mindset for me, actually, because there was a point before, you know, I tell you my grandpa had his stroke. There was a point where I kind of told myself, this is how it's going to be. I'm going to be this way. And you know what? This whole life's too short to not enjoy the things you want. Well, life's also too short to cut it short, you know? So I think being scared enough for me, unfortunately, was the thing that kind of kicked me into gear. I was going through all kinds of medical tests, trying to figure out why I was having these weird symptoms that I was. I was being tested for MS. And obviously I had that diabetes cloud hanging over me. So I think more or less, I don't know if it's me being in the health insurance world where I see the long term of what those diseases bring to your life. I didn't want my family to have to go through that kind of thing. I myself didn't want to have to go through it. I wanted to make the most of the life I've been given. I don't want to cut it short, and I don't want to be in pain, or I don't want to not enjoy my children or my grandchildren or great-grandchildren just because I couldn't make a choice to be healthy.
You know, we all get tempted with overeating and eating the wrong foods. How do you control your temptations?
That's a hard one, because you have to have those dark days where you just know you're being naughty. I'm sorry, you just do. There's something about your soul that says, hey, that chocolate cupcake looks awesome, and I'm going to eat it. But I was actually very strict on my plan for 4 months, and I think the thing that got me through it, you know, because one of my most favorite treats is Reese's peanut butter eggs, and I was going over this diet over that time, you know, the Easter time frame, and the cool part about it was I kept telling myself is, yes, I'm making better choices. Yeah, I've obviously lost weight and I'm feeling and looking better. But I've had to keep telling myself eating healthy, eating this strict, this long is just temporary. Obviously, for 4 months, if you do something that long, you're going to start creating habits. And now I think completely differently when I'm grocery shopping and when I'm cooking. When I'm eating out, I think completely different. But I think the thing for me was just to say, you know what, come October, I'll probably be able to have a few pieces of Halloween candy and enjoy myself. And I definitely don't not let myself have a treat once in a while, but I think in a way I know the other side of it. I know what too much excess of that one thing can do. And, you know, yeah, you do need to live a little, but also what is living if you're not being smart. So I enjoyed some birthday cake on my birthday, but I also was smart for the rest of the day trying to think of other ways to counteract what I was going to treat myself with.
Do you exercise? And if so, what kind of exercises are you doing right now?
That's the hard question. I want to say that I'm a marathon runner and that I can lift weights like nobody else, but I don't. I'm a mom. I run carpool a lot. I'm driving about 2,500 miles a month. So I feel like my exercise is driving. So I try to dance in the car. That's about as good cardio as I'm getting right now. But I do go walking on occasion. I park far out in the parking lot so I can get a few extra steps. I'm not lazy by any chance. I actually do feel like I'm very active, but I don't have any cardio or workout regimen that I'm working with now. There are things I do, I guess, mostly walking or running, but I'm not very consistent with it.
You're listening to the HowTheyLostWeight.com interview program.
So describe the diet or healthy eating plan you're following right now and be very specific. For instance, like what do you eat for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner? What kind of snacks do you eat? What kind of desserts or dessert replacements do you eat?
Okay, cool. For breakfast, I'm a big protein shake fan. I think it's easy, it's simple, it's something that I enjoy. A lot of the times I'll throw in, I always, when I buy my produce, especially if it's fruit, I always make sure I put some aside that I can freeze so I can throw them in with my protein shakes. So mostly protein shakes, not necessarily like a specific brand or anything. I kind of play around with that. I do watch the sugar content on them and make sure that there's not too many sugars in the drinks that I do buy. But that usually gets me through till, I usually do have an early lunch. And sometimes that's just a protein shake as well because time is an issue for me and that seems to work out well. And I know I can get a lot of nutrition in that one meal. But I do actually try to eat a lot of salad with my lunch. So I have some great recipes that I've found with dressings that I can play around with. I use Splenda a lot. I don't know if that's good or bad. You can pick your battle, but at least for me, it's working. I do have a couple of snacks in the afternoon, so that's where I'll pull out. I love almonds. I'm one of those people. So raw, roasted, whatever, I love them. I love veggies, especially if they're cold. So I do that, and then I found some great dressings. I think they're called Bolthouse dressings that have Greek yogurt instead of other things. So I know it's a little bit healthier of a choice there. As far as that goes, I do eat Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, those kinds of things for snacks. I'm trying to think here.
What would be a typical dinner for you?
A typical dinner. I always, I'm not a big protein person. So the fact that I did the diet that I did was very hard for me. I think I could be vegetarian overnight very easily. So I've had to really think outside of the box and be creative. But a typical dinner for me, I try to at least eat 4 ounces of whether it's chicken or turkey, a lean beef, something like that. I try to do at least 4 ounces of that. So whatever that looks like, maybe a fistful or the size of your fist. 2 cups of veggies. I love veggies, so I'll do 2 cups of veggies. So whether that's a squash, or broccoli or cauliflower, you can find recipes for cauliflower fried rice on Pinterest, and it will knock your socks off. It's so good. If I do that, I'll throw in some scrambled eggs for my protein. 2 eggs would equal 4 ounces. So I just had to learn the mathematical side of it and throw in that, but I definitely throw in the 2 cups of veggies, and then I don't stop myself from eating the extra sides. With my family, with my kids and my husband, especially my husband, won't eat anything green. So I have to do the grain or the potatoes or something along with that, mac and cheese. I will let myself have a small helping of that because I will enjoy that, but I definitely make sure that I'm heavy on the veggies.
And then talked about this. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was going to say with the dessert thing and with drinks. So I was a big Coke drinker. Don't know that that's a good thing. Definitely not. So I would do Crystal Light makes these drinks that aren't loaded with aspartame. They actually have Truvia. You can buy Crystal Light with Truvia, which is a natural sugar substitute, and they're really good. So it kind of gives you that little bit of a sweet tooth. I throw that. I'll drink one of those if I need something sweet, and then drinks and desserts. That's kind of it. But I don't hold myself back too much as far as that goes. I've found some great protein bars that I like that taste maybe just as good as a cookie would. So that kind of fulfills that side of it.
You mentioned it a little bit, but how do you integrate your healthy eating plan to accommodate the rest of your family?
You know, when I first started it, I took my daughters and my husband shopping with me when I first started my diet. And I said, I want you guys to help me pick some veggies, help me pick some stuff that you guys would eat, that you would enjoy, and then let's do this. You know, I don't want to traumatize you guys. This is my own problem I'm trying to fix. But obviously, if I'm eating this way, so are you. So let's try to do some things a little better. I sent them out to the grocery store. My husband and one daughter came back with creme brulee, so that didn't quite work. But I've kind of decided to do the grocery shopping on my own. We've done a lot of veggies, like I said, and my kids at first were kind of, they weren't totally into it. But now I've got them eating things that they wouldn't have even looked twice at. So, you know, I've got my 6-year-old who will eat asparagus. She calls them lizard tails. Works for me. So I think more or less I took my diet as a way to lead by example, not necessarily force it on them, but I wanted them to see that I was making choices for myself. And it's funny because I would pre-measure my vegetables, my 2 cups, and then it got to the point where they were eating my 2 cups before I could. So I had to start cooking more, which was awesome. How awesome is that I'm cooking more vegetables than, you know, the rice saroni and my kids were eating healthier. So I think they've actually absorbed it pretty well, and it's been pretty simple. Like I said, I think a lot of it just takes some creativity, looking at your recipe and then thinking, what could I substitute the brown sugar for? What could I substitute? Actually put honey in a lot of my recipes. What can I put instead of honey? Or, but now I've actually put some of that back in just to have some more of those things. I don't feel like I have to leave it completely out, but it's pretty amazing if you start thinking and getting creative how your recipes can taste just the same or better without the stuff that's going to harm you.
Do you add any supplements to your diet?
I do take a multivitamin. Again, not that it's like a specific vitamin. I kind of buy them through maybe different friends. My friend Julie that helped me with my program, she sells vitamins, or just anything that I hear people like or that works out good for them. I'll mess around with that and try them. So that's about it for now. I will take some fish oil every once in a while if I remember. And that's about it.
What are your 3 best pieces of advice to those who want to lose weight and keep it off?
That's a great question. My first thing is pick your plan, commit to it, and just know that you're doing something good for yourself. I didn't have necessarily somebody doing it along with me, but I did have somebody that could kind of keep me accountable. So I do feel like that made the difference, knowing I was going to see my friend and she was going to see if I snuck a Coke into work or whatever. She was going to see that. So pick somebody that's close to you. It doesn't have to be somebody that lives with you, but somebody that you're going to see regularly, maybe more than once a week at least, that can just ask you, hey, how's it going? I don't think you need somebody who can beat you up, because I don't think that that's helpful, but somebody who can be supportive is definitely important. That would be my first advice, somebody to hold you accountable. That made a difference for me. Number 2 is ignore the naysayers. Ignore the people that are saying, oh, that's too hard, or I can't be your friend if you can't have sugar. People like that, they're all in our lives. We love them anyway. They're great. But if you can distance yourself for a little bit, just to get yourself going, that's never a hard thing. Some people called me a recluse because I stopped going to specific events that I knew I was going to see certain people at, because the first interaction I had with them was, what? You're going to do that? That's way too hard. Which maybe some people would think would be motivating. It's not. It wasn't for me. It basically just said, wait, should I be doing this? Is that too hard? Am I making the right choice? You know, it made me second guess what I was doing. And I don't want to second guess something that I need to be passionate about. So I didn't appreciate that. So stay away from the negative people. Yes, you have them in your life. You may see them at family parties or at the preschool when you're dropping off your kids, whatever it is. Just stay away from them. Stay with supportive people. And number 2, so now we'll put it at number 3. This actually was part of the fun for me. Plan ahead. I've actually taken a lot of photos of the things I've done just to share with friends or just to remind myself. If you plan ahead, I'd go to the grocery store on a day that I knew I could come home and have maybe an hour or so to cut up my veggies. So, like I said, I would do the protein and the 2 cups of veggies. I would come home and make sure it was prepared, packaged, and in the refrigerator, ready to go. So if I'm driving around doing errands and I'm going to be coming home and I'm so hungry I can't see straight, I know it's only going to take a few minutes to saute some mushrooms and zucchini. Throw it in a pan and you'll be good in 10 minutes. Instead of grabbing, the blueberry muffin that's in the microwave. So plan ahead, be prepared. Meal planning was really good for me. I've done a lot of freezer meals, and so I think that it's helpful to think it through. Don't just dive in and think that every day you're going to be able to figure it out. It will wear you out. So if you at least know you're planned ahead for 4 to 5 days, it takes a little bit of the pressure and the guesswork off of it. And along with that, I actually kept a food diary. So if there was something I made that was awful, at least I could remember, oh yeah, that didn't work. But if I made something and I really liked it, it went immediately to a recipe card and it was put in my plan ahead box. So I think that was probably, I'll be honest with you, the number one key to my success was actually meal planning and having it ready to go. So, in fact, since I've stopped being so strict with that, I haven't been on this exact plan since June. I started integrating back in cheese and things like that, which was wonderful. I've maintained my weight loss, and I think part of it is because I have still continued to plan. The weeks that I don't, I will feel bloated and gross, and I don't know if it's in my head or not, but it just helps when you're prepared. It's a good principle in everything. So,
do you have any parting thoughts for those people who are listening right now who are on their weight loss journey? Any last things you want to say to them?
Parting thoughts. I would say it goes back to one of my 3 things. Don't let other people get in your head. There's going to be chatter, and be excited about the chatter, because whether it's good or bad, something's changing, and that might intimidate people. That might inspire people. Don't let it get you down. Let it excite you, because you'll find that you don't realize how many people are watching you, especially if you're in the social media or if you're in business and you're out networking or whatever it is. You don't realize how many people might actually look up to you and might need that little piece of advice or might need the little motivation. You don't realize how many people you can start on a good journey if you can just hold your head high, be human. It's okay if somebody says, hey, is this hard? Yeah, it's hard, but it's, I can do hard things. So don't forget that's possible. Don't forget that you can do hard things. Start the chatter, stir that pot a little bit, and be excited that you're creating change.
Awesome. Celeste, thank you very much for taking time to share your weight loss experience with us. We appreciate it very much. And congratulations. Wow, you look awesome.
Thanks. It's been exciting.
Celeste, thank you for that wonderful interview. I appreciate your time being with us, and congratulations for your successful weight loss journey. And you are such a sweetie. Thank you so much for coming on. Let's review some of the things that Celeste taught us. Number one, she says, ask someone to hold you accountable. She said, I didn't necessarily have somebody doing along with me, but I did have someone to kind of keep me accountable. And that's an important point. Just get somebody. Just ask somebody to help you. It doesn't matter if that person is actually doing the weight loss journey with you, or they're just doing you a favor of allowing you to send things to them and keep you accountable. All right. So that's the number one thing. Number two, ignore the naysayers. She said, ignore the people that are saying, oh, well, that's too hard, or I can't be your friend if you can't have sugar. believe it or not, there's people out there like that. There are some kind of crazy mind games that go on when you are on your weight loss journey, because you'll be eating with your old friends and they'll be eating the old processed food and the heavy carbs and things like that. They'll look at you and they'll say, you're on some fad diet, or you are doing an extreme diet, when in fact you're not doing that at all. You're just trying to eat healthy and make wise food choices, but they don't see that because they're still in the old mindset. Don't take any of that personally. Just know that they are in a different stage of their health journey than you are, and that's all. Okay, number 3, plan ahead. And she talks about meal planning and how good it was for her, and that she did a lot of preparing of meals and then freezing those meals so that she had them during the week. And when she did that, it took an awful lot of pressure off of her to come home and fix these meals that were healthy for her. So she planned ahead 4 or 5 days of the week, and it really helped to take the guesswork out of her weight loss journey. And I really respect that, and I very much endorse that. Pre-planning your meals is so important. Now, I know doing it week after week after week after week, sometimes you can fall off the wagon from doing that, but that's okay. It's just like, eating one bad meal. You get right back on it the next week, and you continue that healthy habit. All right. You guys, I want you to go over to howtheylostweight.com and please download one of my free ebooks. You are going to benefit from them greatly. In fact, the one that I suggest that you download today is called 7 Ways to Break Through Weight Loss Plateaus. It's a step-by-step report on how anybody can break through their weight loss plateaus. And if you have been on any type of weight loss journey, you'll know that you will run into weight loss plateaus. That's just the name of the game. Even if you come down very slowly, your body is eventually going to hit a weight loss plateau. In this ebook, I give you 7 different and unique strategies to bust through that weight loss plateau and to keep losing weight again. So you can download it for free. It's a very brief report, but it's very information-packed. I give you very, very specific things to do so that you'll be able to break through your weight loss plateau. Okay, that's the end of our show today. Remember, there's no secret to weight loss success. It's all about making good, healthy choices day in and day out and never, ever giving up. All right, we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to the HowTheyLostWeight.com interview program. We hope you were inspired today and discovered a new tip, technique, or strategy to help you on your journey to lose weight, get fit, and stay healthy for life.